Right. Exercise 8.4 under that question number 1. Complete the table given below. So we have a table. So the table has two columns. So the first column heading is perfect square. The second column heading is square root of the perfect square. Right. So the first row is completed for us. So in any case I will start from that. So the perfect square is 9. Right. Then square root of 9. This means what? 3 to the power 2 inside the square root symbol. So the square root of 9 is what? So the next one we have is 36, right? So the square root of 36. That means 6 to the power of 2 inside the square root. So the square root symbol. So the square root is what? 6. So the next one we have is what? 64, right? 64 square root. That means what? 8 to the power of 2 with inside the square root symbol, then we have 8. Right, then we have 121. Right, 121 inside the square root symbol. Right, this means what? 11 to the power 2 inside the square root symbol, then we have 11. Then we have 400, square root of 400. Right, that means what? 20 to the power of 2 inside the square root symbol. Right, that means what? 20 is the square root. Then we have 900. 900 inside the square root symbol. That means 30 to the power of 2. So this is 30. Exercise 8.4, question number 2. Check whether the given numbers are perfect squares and find the square root of each number which is a perfect square. So under that, part 1, so we have the number 169. The digit on the ones place is what? 9. That means this can be a perfect square. Can be. වෙන්න පුළුවන්. වෙනවම කියලා කියන්න බෑ. හරි? Right. So when we find the square root of a given number, right? We need to look at these two numbers. Right? The digit is 9, no? That means if we think about the square root of this number and the ones place of the square root, it can be, that means a digit, the digit can be 3 or what? 7. Why? We know that 3 into 3 that is 9. In the same way, 7 into 7 that is 49. Right? So if you take a look at the outcome, right? So here the digit on the ones place is 9. Here also the digit on the ones place is 9. Right. Then we focus on this number. So it is 1. No? So we have to think about the square root. So the square root of 1 is what? 1. Then what can be the number? It can either be 13 or it can either be 17. So if we think about it, 15, and if we square 15, 15 into 15 we get 225. 15 වරක් 15ම 225යි. එහෙනම් ඉතින් 17ක් 17 කියන එක අහන්න දෙයක් නෙමෙයි. 13 can be our answer. So we will multiply 13 into 13. So here the square root of 169 is what? 13. So the answer, actually it has two parts, no? 169 is a perfect square and the square root is what? 13. Right? 972. So just as before, if we take a look at the number and the ones, the digit on the ones place, what is that? 2. So definitely this is not a perfect square. Why? We know if a number has any of these digits, 2, 3, 7 or 8, any of these digits as a digit of the ones place of that number, then definitely it is not a perfect square. So 972 is not a perfect square. Okay, question number 3, part 3. What do we have? 441. Right. So if we consider the number 441, digit on the ones place is 4, digit on the hundreds place is what? 4. Since the digit on the ones place is 1, if we consider the square root of this number and the ones place of the square root of this number, what are the possible digits? It can be either 1 or 9, no? Now, Digit on the hundreds place is what? 4. So we can consider the square root of 4. What is that? 21. So what are the two possible numbers? 21 and 29. So out of these two numbers, when we consider the square of 21, it is equal to what? 441. So that means the square root of 441 is what? 21. Okay, so we have to consider the square root of 716. So we will take the number. So the digit on the ones place is 6. So now we will have to think about what? The ones place of the square root of this number. Right? So here we have 6. That means what are the two possible digits of the square root number of its ones place? It can be 4 or 6, no? Now here what do we have? Digit on the hundreds place is what? 7. So what's the nearest perfect square which is less than 7? 4. So we will consider the square root of 4, which is what? 2. So what are the possible two numbers? 24 and 26. If we take the square of 25, we get 625. That means, so most probably, if we check the square of 26, what will it be? 716. So I said most probably, yeah? So 26 into 26, what do we get? So that means when we multiply these two values, or if we take the square of 26, what do we get? 676. We can't take this value, square of 24, and also this value. Both of these values, when we square them, we don't get what? 716. What does it say? 716 is not a perfect square. We have the number 361. Here, the digit on the ones place is what? 1. So, this can be a perfect square, right? So, 361. So, we have to focus on these two digits, right? So, this is 1. No? That means, if you think about the square root of this number, on the ones place, it can be what? It can be 1 or 9. Then here, this is 3, no? So 3, this is not a perfect square, right? But it lies between the perfect squares 1 and 4. So we take the square root of 1, which will be what? 1. So this can be what? The number can be either 11 or 19. We know if we square 15, we get what? 225. So 19 can be the answer. So we have to multiply and verify. 361. So 361, this is a perfect square. And what is the square root? 19. So the next number we have is what? 484. So the digit on the ones place is what? 4, no? That means this can be a perfect square, right? So we will write down the answer again. We will write down the number again, which is 484. So these are the two digits that we need to consider. So this is 4, no? So in the square root, ones place of the square root, it can be what? Since this is 4, it can be 2 or 8. And here we have what? 4. So this is a perfect square. What is the square root? 2. So the number can be either 22 or 28. The number can be either 22 or 28. So we have to multiply. We know that 25 into 25, this is 625. So the number that we are checking is 484. So definitely 28 squared will be larger than even 624. So the number can be 22. So we will check it, right? Right. So 22 into 22, 484. So that means what? 484. This is a perfect square. And what is the square root? 22. 22. Right. So the next number is 1522. 1522. So this is definitely not a perfect square. Why? The digit on the ones place is what? 2. So this cannot be a perfect square. Right. So 529. So the digit on the ones place is 9. Digit on the hundreds place is what? 5. So this is 9 now. That means if we think about the square root of this number and the ones place, what can be the digits? It can be 3 or it can be 7. So this is 5 now. So we have to take the square root of this number. So 5, this is not a perfect square. But we know the number 5, it lies beneath the perfect squares 4 and 9. So what do we take? We take the square root of 4. Right? So the square root of 4 is what? We know that is 2. So what can be the number? It can be either 23 or 27. 23 or 27. Right? So we know 25 square, that is 625. Okay, so what is the number that we are checking? 529. Even 25 squared is 625. So that definitely means the square of 27, it is greater than 625. So we don't have to multiply. So we will take this number 23. It can be the square root, but we have to multiply and verify. Okay. So 23 into 23, that means what? 529. This is a perfect square, right? So this is a perfect square. What is the square root? The square root is 23. So this is definitely not a perfect square. Why? If you take a look at the ones place, the digit is what? 2. So this is not a perfect square. So this number doesn't have a square root. Can a perfect square cut name? Right. So the next number, what do we have? 624. 624. So the digit on the ones place is 4. So this can be a perfect square, right? So we will take the number 624. So these are the two digits that we need to concern ourselves with, right? So the digit on the ones place is 4. That means if you think about the square root, what are the digits on the ones place can be? It can be either 2 or 8. So the digit on the hundreds place is what? 6. So 6, this is not a perfect square, but we know this number is positioned between the perfect squares 4 and 9. So what do we take as the number? 4. We have to write the square root of 4. So that is 2. So what are the numbers? It can be 22 or 28. So we know that if we take the square of 25, this is 625, right? So definitely, if we take the square of 22, it will be, the number that we are checking is 624. No? Even 25 into 25, that is 625. So it is pointless to check the square of 22. ඒක පොඩි shortcut එකක්. ඒ වගේ මොයාට මතක නම් අපි කලින් මේ exercise එකේම මේ number එක square root එකක් විදිහට ගත්තා. If we take the digit take the number 484, the square root of 484, that is what? 22. Okay? Right. So we will multiply 28 because we have to verify. Then 22 මේ match වෙන්නේ නැහැ කියලා එකපාරට 28 ගන්න බෑ. Check කරන්න ඕනේ multiply කරලා, right? So 28 into 28. When we take 28 and the square of 28, we get what? 784. That means what? 624. This is not a perfect square. Right. Exercise 8.4, question number 3. Question number 3. The value of square root of 324 is a whole number between 15 and 20. Find the square root of 324 by observing the last digit. So we have to calculate the square root of 324 by using the observation method. Right? So we know, or we can take the square root of 324. At the moment we don't know, we have to find it. But we can take the square root of 324 as what? AB. Right? So AB into AB, that is equal to what? 324 in this case. So, by observing this number, which is 324, we can guess what are the digits for A and for B. A වලට එන්නේ මොකද්ද B වලට එන්නේ මොකද්ද කියන එක අපි මෙයා දිහා බලාගෙන කරන්න පුළුවන්. Right? So the first thing is 324. Can this be a perfect square? එකපාරට හොයාගෙන යන්න එපා. මේක perfect square එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්ද කියලා බලන්න. So the number on the if we take a look at the ones place, the digit is what? 4. That means this can be a what? Perfect square. බැරි වෙලාවකත් මෙන්න මේ digits ටික තිබ්බනම් 2 3 7 and 8 මෙන්න මේවා තිබ්බනම් මෙයා perfect square එකක් නෙමෙයිමයි. හිතන්නකෝ මෙහෙම 322 වගේ එකක් තිබ්බනම් එහෙම. What is the digit on the ones place? 2. එහෙනම් මෙයා perfect square එකක් නෙමෙයි. හරි. අපි ඒවා කතා කරලා තියෙන්නේ. Right. So now when we calculate the square root of a given number using the observation method, we focus on these two digits, right? Okay. Now, this is the ones place of this number, no? Right? So, since the digit is 4, that means what? AB means what? Right. Here, if we only think about this, the square root of 324, that is what? AB. So, here on 324, the digit on the ones place is 4. So we can get some idea regarding what B can be. The digit can be either 2 or 8. Now we come to here. So we have to find the square root of this number, but we know the number 3, this is not a perfect square. So what do? The number 3, it lies between where? Number 1 and number 4. These two numbers are what? Perfect squares. එතකොට මේ 3 කියන ඉලක්කම තියෙන්නේ මෙන්න මේ perfect squares දෙක අතරේ. අපි එයාගෙන් ගන්නෙ මොකද්ද? මේ 1 කියන සංඛ්‍යාව ගන්නෙ. Right? එයාගෙත් මොකද්ද? ඉලක්කම මෙහෙම ගන්නවද? නැහැ. We take the square root of it. So the square root of 1 is what? That is 1. So the digit on the ones place of the square root, it can be what? 1. ඒ කියන්නේ A කියන එක නම් 1 තමා, B කියන එක it can be 2 or 8. හරියටම දැන්ට කියන්න බෑ. එහෙනම් මොනවද numbers වෙන්නේ? It can be 12 or 18. So definitely this is not 12. Why? When we take the square of 12, we know that is 144. Right? 144. Then it can be what? 18. So we have to multiply and verify. That means what? When we take the square of 18, we get 324. That means the square root of 324, that is what? 18. So 18 is the answer. එතකොට අපේ ගාන දිහා බැලුවොත් ඒකේ කියනවා නේද the square root of this number lies between 15 and 20 කියලා. එතකොට 18 තමයි උත්තරේ. And also here, right? We definitely know the square of 12 is 144, but from that we just cannot take the answer as 18. 12 නෙමෙයි තමයි. 12 නෙමෙයි හන්ද 18 ගන්න එපා එකපාරට. multiply කරලා උත්තරේ එනවද කියලා බලලා තමයි ගන්න ඕනේ. Okay, question number 4. 625 is a perfect square. Its square root is a whole number between 20 and 30. Find the square root of 625. So just as before, we will use the observation method. So we have to find the square root of 625. Actually, here we will use two methods, right? So first of all, we will try to find the square root of 625 by using the observation method, right? So 625, okay? So the digit on the ones place is 5. So this can be a perfect square. එතනින්දම වැඩේ යන්න ඕනේ. Right. So what are the digits that we need to concern ourselves with? 5 and 6. 5 and 6. Okay. So here the digit is 5, no? Digit on the ones place is 5. That means what? If we think about the square root of this number, right? Just as before, AB into AB. AB into AB is what? 625. and also the square root of 625. Sorry, yes. Thinking about this expression, what is the square root of 625? It is AB. So by observing this number, right, we can have an idea of what these two digits can be. මේ දෙන්න මොනවා වෙන්න පුළුවන්ද කියලා අපිට idea එකක් ගන්න පුළුවන්. හරි? So this is 5 no. That means B can be 5. So the digit on the hundreds place is 6 no. That means what? 6. This is not a perfect square, but 6 lies between the perfect squares 4 and 9. So we take this number 4. What do we take? මේක හතර මෙහෙම දානවද? නෑ. We have to write the square root. What is the square root of 4? 2. So A, that is 2. So what can be the number? 25. That means what? The square root of 625, that is what? 25. Find the square root of each of the numbers given below by observation. Right. So the first one we have is what? 256. We need to check the ones place of the given number. Right. So the digit is 6. That means this can be a perfect square. Right. So now we will take 256. Okay. 256. Right. So these are the two digits that we need to concern. Right. So here we have the digit 6. That means on the square root and on the ones place of the square root, the digit can be either 4 or what? 6. Then here we have 2. So we know the number 2, that is positioned between the perfect squares 1 and 4. So we have to pick the number 1 and the square root of number 1. Right? So it is what? 1. So what can be the number? It can be 14 or 16. Right? So we know 15 squared, that is 225. So number that we are checking is what? 256. So definitely 14 we can, the square of 14 we can skip. Right? So if we check the square of 16, so the answer is 256. That means what? The square root of 256, that is what? 16. Right. So the next number we have 441. Okay. So take the number 441. The digit on the ones place is what? So this can be a perfect square, right? So these are the two digits that we need to concern ourselves with. Okay. So this is 1. That means if we think about the square root of this number, what can be the digits on the ones place? It can be 1 or it can be 9. Then here we have 4. So the square root of 4 is what? 2. So what are the numbers? Possible numbers 21 and it can be 21 or 29. We know 25 into 25, that is 625. The number that we are checking is 441. So it is less than, this number is less than 625. That means we can skip the square of 29. So we can check the square of 21. Okay. So 21 into 21, 441. So that means what is the square root of 441? It is 21. The answer is 21. The next number we have 729. Okay. So we have to calculate the square root of 729. Right. So the digit on the ones place is 9. No? So this can be a perfect square. Always you have to check that. So the number we have is 729. So the digit on the ones place is what? Digit on the ones place is 9 and this is 7. Right? So this is 9. No? That means think about the square root and the digit on the ones place of the square root. It can be what? It can be 3 or 7. So we get the number 729. That means what? The square root of 729 is 28. 361. The digit on the ones place is 361. That means this can be a perfect square. Right. So 361. So here the digit is 3. Sorry. Here the digit is 1. Here the digit is 3. Digit on the ones place is 1. No? That means on the square root of this number, the digit on the ones place can be what? it can be 1 or 9. Now think about this number. So this number we have to take the square root, but this is not a perfect square. But we know the number 3 is positioned between the perfect squares 1 and 4. So we take the square root of this number. Square root එක ගන්න නිකම්ම number එක ලියන්නේ. So what can be the number? It can be 11 or it can be 19. We know 15 into 15 or the square of 15 is 225. The number that we are checking is 361. So by comparing these two numbers, it is pointless to take the square of 11. So we have to take the square of 19, 361. Right. So that means the square root of 361 is what? 19. The square root of 361, that is what? Okay, so the digit on the ones place is what? 1. So that means what? This can be a perfect square. So we write 841, right? So these are the two digits that we need to concern ourselves with, right? So this is 1, that means on the square root and the ones place of it, what can be the digits? It can be 1 or 9. So here the digit is 8. We know we have to take the square root of this number. 8 is not a perfect square. 8 is positioned, however, between the numbers 9 and 4. These two numbers are perfect squares. So as a rule, we take the lesser perfect here we take the lesser perfect square, which is 4, and the square root of it. 4 නිකන් දාන්න නැහැ. යාගේ square root එක ගන්නෙ, which will be what? 2. So what can be the number? It can be 21 or 29. So if we take, for instance, 25 square, we know that is 625. The number that we are checking is 841. So it is greater than 625. So we can skip 21 and move on to 29. 29 into 29. Okay, that means what? We get the same number. The square root of 841 is none other than what? 29. Right, miscellaneous questions. Under that, question number 1. In the given figure, ABCD is a square of side length 8 centimeters. BTRS is a square of side length 6 centimeters, and ATPQ is a square of side length 10 centimeters. Find the area of square ABCD. Right, so that is pretty easy, no? Right, ABCD, right? So that's a square, right? This square, no? ABCD. So that is what? 8 into 8, we get 64. But don't forget square centimeters. Find the area of the square BTRS. BTRS, right? So BTRS, that means what? 6 into 6, we get 36 square centimeters. Part 3, find the area of the square ATPQ. ATPQ. ATPQ, that is what? 10 into 10, no? So we get 100 square centimeters. Always don't forget to use the correct unit. Part 4. Find a special relationship between the areas of the three squares. Take 36, right? Take 36 and add it to 64. What will we get? 100. So that is a relationship. So we can further simplify this as what? 36 means square of 6. 64 means square of 8. 100 means what? Square of 10. So that will be the answer. Right, question number 2. The value of the square root of 500 cannot be found by using prime factors. Explain the reason for it. Right. So we will take the number 625. 625 and we will calculate the square root of 625 using the observation method. Okay. So here I will divide this by 5. So we get 125. Again I will divide this by 5. So I will be getting 25. Again I will divide by 5. So I will get 5. 5 I will divide by 5. So I get 1. Right? So 625, that is equal to what? 5 into 5 into 5 into 5. Right? Since we are calculating the square root of this number, we have to do the same thing. So square root on this side means same thing on the other side. Right? Why? We have an equal symbol now. What happens to the right side should happen at the same time on the other side. Right? Okay. So what do? Same two numbers, pick one. Same two numbers, pick one. එතකොට මොකද වෙන්නේ අපිට මේ square root sign එක අහක් ගන්න පුළුවන්. Right? So the square root of 625 is what? 25. එතකොට මේ numbers දෙක අතර තියෙන්නේ multiplication. So that is the way we calculate it. Right? Now you can see when there are a pair of same numbers, what do? Pick one. දෙන්නෙක් ඉන්නකොට එක්කෙනෙක්ව එළියට ගන්නවා. දෙන්නෙක් ඉන්නකොට එක්කෙනෙක්ව එළියට ගන්නවා. හරි? Right. Now we will take the number 500. So I will divide this by what? 2. So I will be getting 250. Again I will divide by 2. So I will be getting 225. Right? Then I will be dividing this by 5. So I will be getting 25. 25 divided by 5. That will be 5. 5 divided by 5. That is 1. Then බලන්න මේ when we calculate the square root of 500 like here, so we have to focus on these divisors, so these numbers, no, right? So 2 into 2 into 5 into 5 into 5, no, and also the square root. දෙන්නෙක් ඉන්නවා එක්කෙනෙක්ව එළියට ගන්න ඕන. මේ දෙන්නගෙන් මෙයා එළියට ගන්න පුළුවන්. මේ දෙන්නගෙන් එක පහක් එළියට ගන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි මෙයාගෙන් එහෙම ගන්න කවුරුත් ඉන්නවද? නෑ. Right? So what happens? We cannot complete the process completely, right? So that's why we cannot use the prime factorization method. Right, miscellaneous questions under that. Question number 3. Show that 8 squared minus 5 squared, that is equal to 8 plus 5 and 8 minus 5. And show the same relationship for another pair of perfect squares. This is the left hand side, this is the right hand side. Okay? So we will do the left hand side. We will simplify the left hand side. So LHS, that means left hand side. Right? So 8 squared minus 5 squared. 8 squared means what? 64 minus 25, sorry, 5 squared means 25. Right? So when we subtract these, 64 minus 20, we get a 44. Then 44 minus 4, that is 40. 40 minus 1, that is 39. Right. Then the right hand side. Okay. 8 plus 5 into 8 minus 5. 8 plus 5 means what? 13. 8 minus 5 means 3. 13 into 3, we know that is 39. So that means left hand side is equal to right hand side. Therefore, statement is true. Right. So now we will take another pair of numbers. So we will take the number 10 and 5. So that means 10 squared minus 5 squared, it should be equal to what? 10 minus 5 and 10 plus 5. Right. So we will simplify the left hand side. Left hand side, that is what? 10 squared minus 5 squared. That means 100 minus 25. So we will get 75. Okay. Then the right hand side. So 10 minus 5. 10 plus 5. 10 minus 5 means what? 5. 10 plus 5 means 15. 5 into 15, that will be what? 75. So here also, left side is equal to left hand side is equal to right hand side. So we can write left hand side is equal to right hand side. That means the statement is true. Right.